This is live streaming.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Marcus Thorpe. I am the associate magistrate judge here this morning that will be presiding over this being first appearance 26 here at, it's approximately 11:08. If you all can hear me, please nod your head just so I can make sure that this is going through well.
All right, y'all, they got it.
Can you all hear me over there?
Yes.
Okay. Great. All right. And well, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, this is first appearance of magistrate court here in Clayton County. Just a couple of things, ladies and gentlemen, that I do want to go over with you before we begin. Let me say, as I like to at every time we do first appearance, this is my opportunity to do a few things. One, that's to make you aware of what you're charged with. Two, that's to also make sure that you're aware of any bond that you have, if in fact you are entitled to bond. And then finally, three, to also make sure that you are aware of what your charges are. Now, this is not the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to try your case. I want to make sure you understand that. We are not here for that purpose. And so I remind you of that because anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have people here who are witnesses to what you say. And so I advise you to be careful because it can harm you and can ultimately result in additional charges later down the line for you. Among the other things I'm going to do is I'm also going to give you dates if you're entitled to a preliminary hearing. I'm also going to determine whether you need the assistance of an attorney. So please, ladies and gentlemen, again, remember that you have a right to remain silent and say nothing. But should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if your case goes to trial. Now, you all do have a few other rights I want to remind you of. You have the right to the presumption of innocence until the state proves you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to an indictment by the grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury. You have the right to see, hear, and cross-examine witnesses who are called to testify against you. You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses in your own behalf by subpoena. And you have the right to testify and offer other evidence in your own defense should you choose to do so. But should you choose not to do so, no presumption of guilt may be raised. And as I mentioned, you also have a right to an attorney to represent you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, some of you will be allowed to post what are called unrestricted bonds for your release from jail pending prosecution of this case. And you can do that in one of three ways. You can post bond by cash, commercial, or property. Now, if you post bond by cash, either yourself or someone else can deliver the full amount of the bond in cash together with any fees to the sheriff's office, who will then hold it until your final court date, at which time the bond will be returned to the person who posted. If you use a commercial bonding company, in those situations, typically a bonding company will require anywhere from 10 to 15% of whatever the bond is that I'll give you. And then that money is then given to the bonding company and it is not returned. And so the example that I give you is, if I tell you, for example, your bond is $2,000 here today, that then means that you or whoever posts that bond for you will be required to give anywhere from 10 to 15%, which would be anywhere from about $200 to $300, $350 to the bonding company. They will then post your bond, but that money is not to be returned. And then the final way to make your bond will be by property. For a property bond, that would require for whomever owns a piece of property to bring the deed to that property down to the sheriff's office, where the sheriff will hold it until such time as your case is closed. Now, in order to use a property bond, the person must have at least 3 times the value in their property as your bond is. So if your bond is, again, $2,000, they must have at least $6,000 in equity in their home to use it as property. Now, in addition to the bond information I just gave you, some of you will have special conditions in your bond. What that means is some of you may be required to stay away from certain places. Some of you may be required to stay away from certain people while your case is pending. Now, this is me telling you those special conditions today. If for some reason, you live at these particular places, or you want these bonds modified in any kind of way because you're either married to this person or you live at the place where I'm telling you to stay away from, that will be for a later date. That will be either for your attorney or for a later judge to reconsider. But for today, if I give you special conditions to stay away from a particular address or a particular person, please do so. Because again, let me remind you, that can result in additional charges coming against you. Does everyone understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as you are considering how you're going to post your bond, if he or she decide that you want to contact a family member in order to assist you in posting your bond, please be careful and listen again today whom your special condition is against. If your stay away is against the person that you are asking to post your bond, that person will not be allowed to do so. Now, some of you today are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized to set bail. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a Superior Court judge, and you will be informed of that date here as well today. If there are any of you who are currently on active probation also, this court is not authorized to set a bond for you. Your bond can be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to determine if they wish to file a warrant for violation of your probation, usually during your preliminary hearing. Now, I mentioned the word preliminary hearing. For those of you who are charged with a felony, you are required to have a preliminary hearing. For those of you who are charged with misdemeanors, you have the option to either have your hearing or waive your hearing. Waive your hearing will not affect your right to post bond. Waiving your hearing will not affect your right to post bond, your right to have an attorney appointed to represent you if you qualify for one, or your right to a jury trial. The difference between having your hearing and not having your hearing or waiving it is simply put that after today, your case will go straight to the solicitor's office where they'll review it if it's a misdemeanor and decide if they're going to go forward. If you decide not to waive your hearing and you do want to have your hearing and you're charged with a misdemeanor, that means that you want the police officer who arrested you to come to court, and he's got to explain to a judge what evidence he believes he has to go against you and to present for later for trial. Now, for those of you charged with misdemeanors, I will give you that option, whether you want to have your hearing or waive it, and then you can tell me at that time how you'd like to proceed. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we are getting ready to get started with the first appearance. We're going to have ladies first. Before we do that, if I could have everyone please raise your right hand. All right. Now, does everyone swear or affirm that the information or testimony that they're about to give here this morning will be the truth and nothing but the truth? So help you God. And if you do, please say, I do.
I do.
All right. Now, if I could have up first, I understand Ms. Jonia Anderson will not be present. Is that correct, Deputy?
Say again, Your Honor?
Ms. Jonia Anderson, I believe she's not present here today. Is that correct?
That's correct. She's not present.
Okay.
Ladies, just look.
One moment, Deputy.
Okay. Ainsley, I want you right here.
I believe that is this Ms. Jada Ansley?
Yes. Okay. Everybody else.
All right. All right. Give me 1 second, Deputy. I'm sorry. I'm just getting her information together. I'll be right with you, Deputy.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Ansley, you were charged with 1 count of violation of seatbelt law. Your bond is in the amount of $500. You're charged with one count of giving a false name. Your bond is in the amount of $3,500 for that charge. You're also charged with identity fraud. Your bond is in the amount of $1,500. And then finally, concealing the ID of a motor vehicle. Your bond is in the amount of $500 there. You have a total bond of $6,000, ma'am. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, sir.
And Miss Ansley, did you fill out a court-appointed form?
Yes, sir.
All right, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can locate your.
It might be number 9, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. Miss Ansley, you are currently not working, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You are working?
No, I'm not working.
Okay.
Currently not working.
So I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney. You're charged with all misdemeanors, ma'am, so you have a right to either have your hearing or waive your hearing. What would you like to do, ma'am?
I want to waive it.
So what's gonna happen then, ma'am, is your next court date you're gonna go straight to the solicitor's office and you'll be contacted by your attorney to give you your next court date. I am gonna have a document, it's gonna be called a waiver form that you're gonna have to sign here today. As with regard to your case, if you do in fact end up making bond, Miss Ansley, please keep in mind that your new court date will be sent to you in the mail. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am. Well, if you don't have anything else for me, I believe that's all I have for you. You may good luck to you. You can have a good day. Next up, I have Miss Jasmine Harris.
Who?
All right, are you Miss Harris?
Yes.
All right, give me 1 second, Deputy. I'm having some feedback here.
Not a problem, Your Honor.
Let's see what's happening here.
Judge doing that. Once you finish up, it's all we're gonna go back to the area.
All right, I think everything's good to go. All right, Ms. Harris, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Harris, you're charged with one count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substances, and then one count of obstruction of an officer. As to the VGCSA, your bond is in the amount of $1,500. As to the obstruction, your bond is in the amount of $2,000 for a total bond of $3,500. Ma'am, do you believe you'll be able to make bond? All right, Ms. Harris, according to the information you provided, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So you will have to go ahead and assign your own, go ahead and get your own attorney. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, as far as your preliminary hearing, you're charged with 2 misdemeanors here. You'd like to have your hearing or to waive your hearing?
Waive.
All right. All right, so Ms. Harris, as I mentioned to the young lady before you, because you waived your hearing, your case will go straight to the solicitor's office, and so you'll be advised of your next court date by your attorney. If you do make bond, ma'am, please keep up the last known address that you gave us here at the courthouse, the sheriff's office in particular, and that's where your notice of your court date will go. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am, if you don't have anything else for me, good luck to you.
If I feel sign that form, then you're gonna step in.
And next up, Deputy, I have a Miss, I believe this is it, Leticia Johnson.
Yes.
All right, good morning, Miss Johnson.
Good morning.
Ma'am, you are charged with one count of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is in the amount of $10,000. You're charged with one count of tampering evidence. Your bond is in the amount of $15,000 for that, for a total bond, excuse me, $5,000 for a total bond of $15,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, ma'am?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson, I understand you are not working, is that correct?
Right.
So reviewing your information, ma'am, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney this morning. Your next court date, ma'am, is going to be, this is March 22nd for your preliminary hearing, as you're charged with felonies here. Your next court date is gonna be March 22nd, here of 2023. And that's gonna be at 8 a.m., excuse me, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes. Both of them are felons?
Yes, ma'am. They're both charged as felonies here. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Johnson, well, if you don't have any other questions, ma'am, good luck to you.
Thank you.
The next person I have up is Melvina Renee, I believe this is Modican.
Modigan, yes, sir.
What's your name?
Yeah, hi, is it Miss Modican, is that correct?
Yes, it's Modigan.
Modican, okay, I apologize. Miss Modican, you're charged with one count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. For that charge, your bond is in the amount of $25,000. You are charged with one count of possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime. Your bond is in the amount of $10,000 for that charge. Your next charge is one count of simple assault. Your bond is in the amount of $1,000. You are also charged with the use of fighting words. Your bond is in the amount of $1,500. And then finally, you're charged with reckless conduct. Again, a bond of $1,500. Your total bond is $39,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond now?
Yes, sir.
Now, you also have special conditions here. In the warrant that was provided to the court, the alleged victim in this case is a Mr. Tremaine Horn. So you are to stay away from Mr. Tremaine Horn. And then the alleged incident location is a Walmart here in Clayton County at 29, I believe it's 40 Anvil Block Road in Ellenwood. You are also, until this is modified, if it is ever, you are required to stay away from that particular Walmart as well. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Monica, do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, as far as a court-appointed attorney, I see that you are not working, so I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney today. Now, because you are charged with felonies, you are going to have a preliminary hearing. Your next court date is going to be March 22nd of 2023 at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, okay?
Okay.
All right, ma'am. If you don't have any other questions for me, I believe that's all I have for you, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, do you have a Kelly?
Yes, give me 1 second, Deputy. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to skip that one.
No problem. And back to that area anyway, so going back to that area. No, well, back to intake. Yeah. Yeah, no. Still doing what we see what's going on. Yeah, the bond and intake, thought you wanted to go back to the doctor because you like it. You didn't go down or something.
It probably wasn't blown out, but maybe we had, anxiety and depression. It's probably what? It was probably a blow out. They give you that.
For some reason, Deputy, I'm not, look, I see her name here on my list, but I'm not showing where I got documents on her. I may have to put you on hold here. So let's get through, if we can, the remainders that I have for women, and then we'll circle back to Ms. Kelly if that's okay.
Sure, not a problem.
Okay. So next I have, I'm showing a Miss Desiree, and I believe this may be Onuwubu.
Webu, Your Honor.
Okay, how do I pronounce that again, ma'am?
Webu.
Webu, okay.
Y'all can have a seat.
All right, give me 1 second, Ms. Desiree.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Desiree, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass in the bond amount of, 1 count of simple battery in the bond amount of $3,500, and you were charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, I have dismissed the warrant for criminal trespass, leaving you with only the 1 count of simple battery at $2,500. You do have special conditions, ma'am, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Mr. Amadi Onuwubu, and you're also to stay away from 11229. This is Windbridge Drive in Hampton, Georgia. Now, ma'am, if that's your address where you live, I want to advise you, please stay away from that address and from this individual until such time as this is modified at a later date, if it is. If you fail to do so, that can result in additional charges. Do you understand that, ma'am?
I have some questions, Your Honor. in
Yes, ma'am.
reference To that, because it is my residence and I'm my mother's caregiver. She's 74 years old. She's been diagnosed with dementia. So if I move, I don't know where I'm gonna go because that house is actually in my name and I've been caring for her since April. So I don't know what to do there. I don't have anywhere else to send her, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am, and I understand that, and I empathize with you about that, but unfortunately, because of the allegations here of violence, I cannot modify that, especially without the alleged victim not being present here. And so what I'm going to have to do is I have to uphold this at this point. And what I would suggest to you is whether I appoint you an attorney or you hire your own attorney, that you speak to them and you speak to a judge at a later time in order to have that modified, if that is something that can be done. But unfortunately, at this point, until that's modified, I have to institute this, stay away from this individual as from that address. Do you understand?
I do, Your Honor. I have one more question. May I collect belongings once I post bail?
Yes, ma'am, and that's what I was going to tell you. So if and when you do make bond, what you can do is you contact the sheriff's office here in Clayton County, and they can actually go down with you to that individual address and they can collect them with you. However, please remember that you have to go with someone. You can't go alone. Do you understand that?
Understand, Your Honor.
Okay, because again, going there on your own would be a violation of this bond and could result in additional charges, okay?
Okay.
I'll explain the rest.
All right, now I see here that you do qualify for court appointed. So I am gonna appoint you an attorney here. Now, as far as your preliminary hearing, man, would you like to have your hearing or would you like to?
I'm gonna waive the hearing.
Okay. All right, ma'am. I believe that's all I have for you. Since you are waiving your preliminary hearing, your next court date will be advised to you by your court-appointed attorney. And again, remember, please, ma'am, to keep in touch with your attorney so they can advise you what your next court date will be, as it will also be sent to that last known address. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Deputy, I'm sorry, I do have Miss Kelly here, Erin Kelly, if we could have her step up.
Yes, sir. Kelly, oh, man.
All right, are you Miss Erin Kelly?
Yes, sir.
All right, Miss Kelly, you're charged with one count of criminal trespass. Your bond is in the amount of $1,500. Ma'am, do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Miss Kelly?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, Miss Kelly, you also have special conditions. That is to stay away from this particular address. This is 604 Brookstone Court, where the alleged incident occurred. Do you understand that, ma'am? Is that yes, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Ms. Kelly, you also, here according to the information you provided, do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I am going to go ahead and appoint you an attorney this morning. As far as your preliminary hearing, because you're charged with misdemeanor, would you like to have your hearing or waive it?
Waive it.
Okay. So like I told the individual before you, it will be important if you do make bond that you keep up with not only your attorney, but also you remember that the new court date will come to the last known address that we have on file for you, Ms. Kelly. I don't have anything else for you, ma'am. So if that's all you have, no question for me. Good luck to you, ma'am. All right, next up, I have Ms. Walethia Thomas.
Yes.
Is that correct? Is it Ms. Walethia Thomas, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Thomas, you're charged with 2 counts of violation of Georgia Controlled Substances. The first, your bond is in the amount of $3,500. The second, ma'am, after review of the warrant, I have dismissed that charge. Your third count is for use of drug-related objects. Your bond is in the amount of $500. And then finally, your last charge was for dangerous drugs in a container. I have dismissed that charge. So your total bond is $4,000, ma'am. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, Your Honor, but I have a question before we. So the drug thingy, I guess the person that was in the car with us, the young man, he said when he goes to court.
I'm sorry, Ms. Thomas, I'm having trouble hearing you.
The thing about, I guess it was the little scale thingy that the officer said was mine. The young man said that he would take his charge for his thing.
I'm really having trouble.
The thing about the little drug thingy, the young man said that he will say that it was his. So is there any way that I could get that took off as well?
Okay.
You're just fine.
And I
Okay.
have the paperwork, my medication as well.
Okay, and so I understand that, ma'am, but again, you know, that's unfortunately something that I can't remember. You don't want to discuss that with me here today. So I'm gonna have to advise you just to be careful with that information. Remember, you don't want to give certain things over to me because I'm not the one trying your case here today. And so that kind of information I would tell you, please hold on to it for your attorney and for your later court date. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir. So I will be able to make bond though.
Okay, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Based on the information you provided, ma'am, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I am gonna go ahead and appoint you an attorney. Your next court date is going to be, because you're charged with felony, it's gonna be March 22nd at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom, okay?
Okay.
All right, ma'am. Well, if you don't have anything else for me, I believe that's all I have for you. Good luck to you, ma'am.
My bun again?
What's that?
What was the price of the bun again?
Your total bond is $4,000, $3,500 for the drug charge, and the drug-related object is $500.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, we are.
And are you Miss Thompson?
No, I'm Thornton.
Is that yes?
Oh, yeah. Ms.
No.
Thompson, I believe, went out to the hospital on medical. Going forward.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just over here. Give me 1 second, deputy. All right, can you say that one more time, deputy?
Ms. Thompson, we were advised that she went out to the hospital for some medical reasons, so she's not here.
Okay, and so who is this before me now?
This is Ms. Thornton.
Okay. All right, Ms. Thornton, you are charged with 1 count of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is in the amount of $3,500, and you're charged with 1 count of open container violation. Your bond is in the amount of $500 there. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, ma'am?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, based on the information that I have here, you are not working, so you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney here. You are charged with a felony, ma'am, so your next court date is going to be March 22nd of 2023 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you have any questions for me?
No.
All right, well, I believe that's all I have for you, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Officer. As it's going.
All right, Deputy, I believe we're.
I got him coming up before, Your Honor.
All right, thank
The
you.
first- You're welcome. First gonna be Esteban. It's Esteban, ain't it? Step up right here.
Okay, Jonathan Esteban.
Yo, second group, come on out.
Are you Mr. Jonathan Esteban?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that, yes, sir? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Esteban, you are charged with 1 count of public drunk. Your bond is in the amount of $1,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Esteban, based on the information that you provided, or let me ask, how much are you earning per month?
How much do I make per month?
How much are you making per month?
I guess it depends on the amount of visitors, clientele.
You said it depends on what, sir?
The clientele that month.
Okay, what
Yeah,
sort of
Your Honor.
work? What sort of work are you doing?
I'm a barber.
Okay. On average, how much would you say you're making?
About I guess it depends on each month, Your Honor, but usually I would say about 4K a month.
Okay, okay. And so, but you don't know if you don't know if you're gonna have that job once you're released though, do you?
I'm not sure now.
Okay. So based on that, sir, I'm gonna go ahead and appoint you a court appointed here this morning, just because of that. Now, you are charged with one count of misdemeanor, so you do have a right to either waive your hearing or have your hearing. Do you want to have your preliminary hearing or would you like to waive it?
I would like to have it.
Okay, so your next court date, sir, let me confirm here, is going to be March 21st for your preliminary hearing here of 2023, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. And as I was telling everyone earlier, if you do in fact end up making bond before that court date, please understand that you got to keep in touch, with your attorney, so they can advise you of your next court date. But then it's also important that you keep up with your last known address and keep a lookout for the mail because that next court date will be sent there as well. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. All right. Next up, I believe I have Mr. Is it Cameron Frierson?
I'm Leonard Fortner.
Okay, you're Mr. Fortner, excuse me. Okay. Give me 1 second here, Mr. Fortner.
Your Honor, well, we got them in alphabetical order, so it should be, the numbers are close to the same thing. We did all the females first.
Yes, sir. All right, Mr. Fortner, you are charged with one count of reckless conduct, one count of obstruction of an officer, and then one count of simple battery. As to the obstruction, your bond is in the amount of $2,500. As to the obstruction, your bond is in the amount of $5,000. As to simple battery, your bond is in the amount of $5,000 for a total bond of $12,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. So based on the information you have provided, sir, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I am going to go ahead and appoint you an attorney here today. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you are charged with the felony, so you're going to have a preliminary hearing. Your next court date is going to be March 22nd of 2023, 8:30 a.m. Via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. If you don't have any other questions for me, that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Now, I believe you're Mr. Frierson.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Frierson, you're charged with one count of simple battery. Your bond is in the amount of $3,500. You have a special condition, that's to stay away from the individual involved in the alleged fight with yourself, Mr. Rontavious Winkfield. You are also not to violate any laws while you're on bond, and you're also to continue to reside with your legal guardian. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. As I said, your bond is in the amount of $3,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently in school?
I think so.
Well, I know where this was alleged to have happened, but were you going to school at the time?
Oh, yeah.
What grade are you in, sir?
9th grade.
You said 9th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so based on what I have in front of me, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney since it looks like you are a full-time student. So you have the right to have your preliminary hearing or to waive your preliminary hearing. What would you like to do here this morning, Mr. Frierson?
What that mean if I waive? What do it mean?
So if you waive your preliminary hearing, that means that, so let's start like this. A preliminary hearing, and the purpose of it is for the police officer to come to court, and in front of the judge, he's going to tell the judge what kind of evidence he has against you. It's not your trial. He's just telling you what kind he has. So it's your turn, your opportunity to see it early. If you waive it, that hearing doesn't happen, and it goes directly to the solicitor's office for review to decide if they're going to officially and formally charge you. So the difference is you get to see your evidence early versus if you waive it, things tend to move a little faster. So how would you like to go forward? Would you like to waive it or have your hearing?
I'll waive it.
Okay. All right, sir. So since you are waiving your hearing, That means your next court date will be sent to you via mail, and it will be advised to you by your court-appointed attorney, okay?
Okay, can I ask you something real quick?
Yes, sir.
What if I have my own attorney?
So because this is your first appearance, if you decide to hire your own attorney, that's more than fine. Just let them know that they would need to what is called file a substitution of court. And then that way they'll become your new attorneys at the time that your next court date happens, okay? All right, good luck to you, sir. Are you Mr. Isaiah, is it Grogans?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Grogans, you're charged with 1 count of theft by receipt of stolen property and 1 count of possession of a handgun. Your first charge of theft by receipt, your bond is in the amount of $5,000. For the possession of a handgun, your bond is in the amount of $5,000 for a total bond of $10,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, here you are charged with a felony. And so you are going to have a preliminary hearing date. Your preliminary hearing is going to be March 22nd, excuse me, of 2023. And that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Looking at the information you provided, sir, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney here this morning. And so they'll be in touch with you prior to your next court date. And how old are you, sir?
17.
Okay, so I'm gonna make, in addition to you're not violating any laws while you're out on bond, if you do in fact make your bond of $10,000, I'm gonna require that you live with your either parents or legal guardian. Do you understand that? All right, sir. So if you don't have any other questions for me, again, your bond is in the amount of $10,000. Your next court date will be March 22nd of 2023 at 8:30 a.m. Good luck to you, sir. Are you Mr. Khalil Harriet?
Sir.
All right, so you're charged with 1 count of DGSA violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act and 1 count of possession of a drug-related object. As to the VGCSA, your bond is in the amount of $10,000, and as to the drug-related object, your bond is in the amount of $5,000 for a total of $15,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, according to the information you provide, I see you're working. How much are you earning per month?
Not working right now.
Okay, so you are not working? Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and based on what you provided, Dan, I'm gonna hire you or appoint you, excuse me, a court-appointed attorney. Your next court date, because you are charged with a felony, is going to be March 22nd at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom for your preliminary hearing. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you have any other questions for me?
No, sir.
All right, sir, good luck to you. Next up, I believe I have it. Is this Miguel Hill?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Hill, you're charged with 1 count of theft by taking. Your bond is in the amount of $3,500. You do have a special condition other than not to violate the laws. That's to stay away from the alleged incident location of 3000. I believe this is South Corporate Parkway, Suite 4000 in Forest Park. Again, your bond is in the amount of $3,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently working?
Yes, sir.
How much are you earning per month, sir?
About 3,500.
Okay. So unfortunately, based on that, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so you will have to hire your own. You were charged with the felony, and so your next court date is going to be your preliminary hearing court date, which is going to be March 22nd of 2023 at 8:30 a.m. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any other questions for me?
Will the court date be here at this jail, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it will.
All right, appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Next up, I have Mr. Willie Hooper. Good morning, Mr. Hooper. Sir, you're charged with 1 count of abandonment, 1 count of driving with suspended license, 1 count of no insurance, and 1 count of knowingly concealing the license, knowingly concealing your license here. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, the bond amount for the abandonment is $1,500, for the suspended license, $1,500, for the no insurance, $1,000, and for the knowingly concealing your registration, $500, for a total bond in the amount of $4,500, so $4,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, based on the information that you provided to me here, Mr. Hooper, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney this morning. You do qualify. Now, you're charged with misdemeanor, so you have the right to either have your preliminary hearing or to waive it. What would you like to do, sir?
I'd like to waive it.
All right. So if you do make that bond, remember, Mr. Hooper, it's very important that you keep in touch with your lawyer who has been appointed by the court so that they'll be aware of when your next court date is. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any other? I'm sorry?
I was told up front that I had a hold for Bryan County. Do you see that?
I was looking at your criminal history because I saw something as well. It wasn't clear. So, I don't want you to incriminate yourself in any way, so I'm not gonna ask you about it. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, you would know better than I, but your history wasn't clear as to if you do or don't. So I will tell you, if you do in fact have a hold, typically what happens is you resolve this case first, and then you're sent to wherever it is that you have the hold, unless you're gonna be here for a while. Sometimes they'll ship you off, deal with that case, and bring you back. So, I can't really tell you what's gonna happen, but if you have someone kind of working with you, or even your lawyer, once he gets in touch, have them call the other county just to make sure what's going on, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Next up, I have Mr. William Johnson. Are you Mr. Johnson?
Sir.
All right, Mr. Johnson, you're charged with 2 counts of violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act, the bond amount of $5,000 on each, possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime, also with the bond amount of $5,000, no insurance with the bond amount of $1,000, and then finally, your final charge is a brake light violation with a bond amount of $1,000 for a total bond of $17,000. Sir, do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, based on the information you provided here this morning, you do not unfortunately qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So you will have to hire your own attorney. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You are charged with felonies here. So your next court date is going to be your preliminary hearing, and that's going to be on March 22nd at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Well, if you don't have any other questions for me, I believe that's all I have for you. Good luck to you, sir.
I had one more question. They had told me that my the brake light was a $300 fine.
I don't have that listed, sir. So right now it's been made to $1,000, but I mean, you always have the ability to have that negotiated at a later time.
All right, I got you.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
thank you. Yes, sir. Are you Mr. Joyner?
Sir.
Mr. Joyner, you're charged with 1 count of criminal damage in the 2nd degree. Your bond amount is $3,000. You do have special conditions, sir, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Ms. Simone Watson, and to also stay away from the address of 15 Iverness Trace in Jonesboro. As I mentioned, well, let me ask you, do you live at that address?
No, sir.
Okay, so it's just to stay away from the address and to stay away from that person while you're out on bond. Again, your bond amount is $3,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you currently working?
No, sir.
So I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney here this morning to assist you on your case. Now, because you are charged with felonies, your next court date is going to be March 22nd at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you have any questions for me, Mr. Joyner?
No, sir.
All right, sir, good luck to you. Are you Mr. Lopez? Do you understand me, Mr. Lopez?
I have 8.
Do you speak English? Okay.
Just told us you spoke English.
He did tell you he did, Deputy?
Yes, Your Honor, he filled out the paperwork.
I'm looking at the CAA form. Yeah, he didn't fill it out. If we could hold him till the end and we'll try to get someone on the language line. Next up I have is this. Is it Earl? Excuse me.
More.
Yes,
Samuel.
Mr. Moore, is that you?
Yes.
Mr. Moore, you're charged with 1 count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond is in the amount of $3,500. You're also charged with possession of drug-related object. Your bond amount is in the amount of $500 on that for a total bond of $4,000, sir. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes.
Okay. Now I see here that you are not working, sir, so I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney here this morning to help you with your case. As far as your preliminary hearing, sir, would you like to have your hearing or waive your hearing?
Have it.
Okay, so you're, and I apologize, you're charged with felonies, excuse me, so you are required to have it. So your next court date is gonna be March 22nd of 2023 at 8:30 a.m., sir, and that's gonna be via Zoom, okay? All right, sir, if you don't have any other questions for me, I believe that's all I have for you. Good luck to you, sir. All right, are you Mr., is it Eric Mosley?
Yes.
Mr. Mosley, you're charged with 1 count of public drunk. Your bond is in the amount of $1,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, I'll have to call him.
So I am, based on what you provided me this morning, sir, gonna go ahead and appoint you an attorney this morning. As far as your preliminary hearing, would you like to have it or waive it?
Wait.
Okay. And so again, your next court date is gonna be that date that you're advised by your attorney or that will come to you in the mail. So if you don't have anything else for me, sir, I believe that's all I have for you. Good luck to you. Are you Mr. Joseph, is it Rafford?
Yes, sir.
Last name, first name?
All right, Mr. Rafford, you are charged with 1 count of unlawful conduct during a 911 call. Your bond is in the amount of $2,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes.
And based on the information you provided to me, sir, I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney here this morning. As far as your preliminary hearing, would you like to have it or waive it?
Waive it.
3 o'clock this morning.
So as I told the gentleman before you, that means it'll be imperative that you keep in touch with your lawyer because they'll be able to advise you what your next court date will be, and that you also make sure that if you change addresses, you let someone know because that's where your information is going to be sent after your court date. Do you understand that? Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, sir. Well, that's all I have for you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Just hang out over there.
Are you Mr. Smith
No,
or you Mr. Stevenson? I can't hear you, sir. Stevenson?
Mr. Steve.
Okay.
Sir.
So, Mr. Stevenson, you are charged with 1 count of battery family violence. Your bond is in the amount of $7,500. You're charged with 1 count of obstructing a 911 call. Your bond on that is $7,500. You're also charged with theft by taking. Your bond amount on that is $5,000. And then finally, you're charged with 1 count of robbery. I am not, because it appears that you are currently on probation, allowed to give you bond on that. So you're in no bond status pursuant to Georgia law. Do you understand that?
No, sir.
Okay. So in other words, I reviewed your criminal history this morning, and it is showing that you're currently, you have a prior robbery for which you are on probation for currently. It looks like your probation ends in June of this year. And so because you're currently on probation for that sort of a charge, the law does not allow me to give you bond here today. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you do have special conditions if at some point you are given a bond and you make that bond. That is to stay away from the alleged victim in this case, Ms. Carolyn Stevenson, and also to stay away from the address of 2988 Medina Drive in Jonesboro. Now, if you live at that address, as I told the people ahead of you, please contact the sheriff's office, and if need be, they can take you there to get anything that you need. Do you understand that, sir? How long have you been in custody, Mr. Stevenson?
Like 2 days.
Okay. So I understand you are not working, is that correct?
No, sir.
So, Mr. Stevenson, based on that information, I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney here this morning to assist you with your case. And your next court date, sir, is gonna be March 22nd of 2023 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom, okay? All right, good luck to you, sir. And what's your last name, sir?
Smith,
I'm sorry, is it Mr. Smith?
Trayvon Smith.
Trayvon Smith. Okay, give me 1 second, Mr. Smith. All right, Mr. Smith, you are charged with 1 count possession of marijuana less than an ounce for a bond amount of $1,500. You're also charged with no license for a bond amount of $1,000 and no insurance for a bond amount of $1,000. Your total bond is $3,500. Sir, do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, I believe my bond is posted already.
Okay, okay. So looking at the information you provided, it says you make about $22,500 a month.
22,000 fine a month.
I'm sorry,
About 5,000.
about 5,000. I apologize.
I'm a
Okay,
bartender.
okay. So based on that information, sir, unfortunately, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so you will have to hire your own. Now, as far as your preliminary hearing, would you like to have your hearing or waive it?
Waive it, Judge.
Okay. All right, so you'll have some documentation to sign here shortly in regards to waiving your hearing. And so it'll be important, Mr. Smith, so if and when, if you've already made that bond, that you keep in touch with your lawyer because he can let you know what that next court date is. Or that if you change your address, that you let someone know there as well, because that's how they're gonna keep up with you, okay?
Quick question. I actually do have my insurance. I just didn't have it on the card. I had a screenshot on my phone. He didn't take it. So just bring that to court and then they'll waive my no insurance.
So I cannot give you legal advice, but I would tell you that's, important. And so, keep up with that information. Let your attorney know that when you do, in fact, speak with your court-appointed attorney, and that may be of assistance to you in your case, okay?
Sure, appreciate you.
All right, yes, sir, Mr. Smith, you have a good one.
And you too.
And are you Mr. Swinton?
Mr. Stevens, Shavar Stevens.
Oh, excuse me, I apologize, Mr. Stevens. Yes, Mr. Stevens, you are charged with 2 counts of criminal trespass as a misdemeanor. The first count, $2,000 is your bond. The second is $2,000 is your bond. And then finally obstructing an emergency 911 call. Your bond amount is $3,000 on that for a total of $7,000 in bond. Now, you do have special conditions, sir. That means you are to stay away from the alleged victims, Mr. Eric Mitchell and Miss Charlene Barber. You're also to stay away from this address, 6726 Terra Boulevard, apartment 26H here in Jonesboro. Now, if that is your address and where you live, you can contact the sheriff's office and they will assist you in getting any items that you may have there until such time as your case is either closed or your bond is modified. But please do not attempt to go to that address on your own. Do you understand that, Mr. Stevens?
Understand?
All right, so looking at the information, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney. The bond amount again is $7,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make a bond?
Yes, I can pay through a bond company.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Finally, you are charged with misdemeanors here. Do you want to have your preliminary hearing or do you want to waive it?
Nah, I don't need it, sir.
Okay. So if I understand you correctly, you do want to waive it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, sir. So I'm gonna go ahead and I've entered that information that you would like it waived. So again, if and when you make your bond, as I told the gentleman before you, make sure that you keep in touch with your court-appointed attorney, as they'll be able to advise you what your next court date's gonna be. And then also that last known address, make sure you don't change it. If you change it, you gotta let the court know and let the sheriff's office know so they'll know where to send your information. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
All right, sir. If you don't have any questions for me, I believe that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And are you Mr. Swinton?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Swinton, you are charged with 1 count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond there is in the amount of $15,000. You are also charged with possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime. Your bond amount there is in the amount of $5,000. Then you're also charged with possession of marijuana. Oh, I'm sorry, give me 1 second here. Let me just take a look at this again. Okay, I'm gonna change something here for you. So, Mr. Swinton, let's start from the beginning. Violation of a Georgia Controlled Substance Act, your bond is in the amount of $5,000. We're not gonna make it 15, $5,000. Possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime, your bond amount is $5,000. Possession of a marijuana, less than an ounce, 1,500. And a tenant window violation of $500 bond amount. Your total bond is going to be $12,000, sir. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, as far as court-appointed attorney, looking at this information, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so you are going to have to hire your own. Now, because you are charged with a felony, your next court date is going to be March 22nd of 2023 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Swinton, do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
All right, I believe that's all I have then, sir. Thank you.
All right, we just need that Spanish interpreter for this last young man.
All right, and Deputy, I want to make sure, so the two that I have that were not available today were, I believe it was Miss Anderson, and there was another young lady at the end.
Thompson.
Thompson, okay. I want to mark these before we get to him so that we can make sure that they're put on tomorrow.
Okay, that means Anderson, Anderson was the one I believe was at the hospital.
Yeah, I think she went to the hospital.
Wyletta Thomas? Wyletta
No, I
Thomas?
think she was here. I remember doing hers. I think it was
That's I got a Thornton.
Thornton. That's who I've got. Thornton.
Yeah, so
So
I
let
don't
me
see
get.
it.
Yep. So those are the two. I just want to mark them now so we make sure that they get.
So it'll be Thomas and Anderson.
Yep. All right. And so then Mr. Orozco. All right, Deputy, if you give me 1 second, I'm gonna give them a call. If you just.
Not a problem, Your Honor, not a problem. Listen, fellas. You came out of housing unit 7, which is an orientation door. You need to step up. Not intake, housing 7. No, y'all don't do no phones up here. It's just all orientation. Step on that, step on that. You got orientation on? Where you came from?
I'm trying to.
What did they get you from this morning?
It was, I believe it was public transportation.
Yeah, well, where did the deputy come pick you up from to bring you up here?
Oh, well.
Come on, man, what you doing there? Hey. Okay, you can be lead man. Housing yourself, all the way to the bottom. Right hand side. Now go back by yourself. When you walk in the hallway, hands crossed behind your back, just like they're in front of you. Good luck to y'all. Step close to the wall, that way they'll see you so they can open the door. Follow them, man.
Can I ask, like, where I get a big office?
You better take care of that down there, man. That's what can you open up 150? 7 minutes going back to housing. Ma'am? I got 7 going back to housing in 7. I got 15 after 12. I got inmates on the way back to housing. Where were you? Was you in intake or was you the 7? What did you get you for this one? Okay. Where you sleep at night? Wakasa. Yeah, no. Where? Were you with them? Oh, this way, man.
I think so. I don't think he was with us.
He probably was 7 too. Lopez, right? Say HA, he probably did not say. I'll get you back too. I might put you up and hold it.
Thorpe, and I'm calling in reference to, I'm conducting first appearance here this morning or this afternoon, rather, and I have an individual that speaks Spanish that I need someone to speak to. All right, Deputy, I've got someone online. All right, Madam Interpreter, can you hear? I'm sorry, say that again, ma'am.
This is Mr. Lopez.
May I introduce myself?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Buenas, el día de hoy voy a hacer intérprete en español. Esto me voy a servirle y esta llamada puede ser monitoreada por efecto de entrenamiento y calidad del servicio.
Okay, he didn't respond. Were you asking him a question?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question, please?
I said, Madam Interpreter, he didn't respond. Were you asking him a question?
Okay. Bueno, señor, ¿está ahí? ¿Aló?
Yes, he's there. He said something very, very faint. Can you ask him if he can hear you, please?
Yes, sure, no problem. Disculpe, señor, ¿me puede escuchar? Porque lo escucho bastante lejos.
Okay, he said C. Can you tell him he's going to have to speak up so that we can hear him?
Okay, señor, voy a tener que hablar un poco más fuerte para poder escucharlo, porque se me escucha bastante lejos.
Oh, está bien.
Okay, Madam Interpreter, did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Interpreter, can you please tell, this gentleman's name is Mr. Lopez. Can you tell him that he is charged with speeding, no license, and failure to yield?
Disculpe, señor López, usted tiene cargos por exceso de velocidad, no licencia y no permiso.
Sí.
Okay. I have dismissed his charge of no license. So he only has a charges of speeding and failure to yield for a bond of $500 each.
He quitado su cargo por la licencia, entonces le queda el de velocidad y el de entonces le digo cada uno de $500.
Está bien.
Now, please let him know that if he can bond himself out by paying $1,000 or have someone come pay that amount. If he can't, what I will do is I will go ahead and hire him an attorney to help him.
Si usted puede pagar los $1,000 o alguien más puede pagarlos por usted y si no puede, le puedo contratar a un abogado.
No, yo puedo pagar.
No, I can pay you, so.
Okay. So what he'll have to do is he'll have to pay that to the sheriff's office. Otherwise, he will remain in custody. Please tell him that.
Tiene que ir a pagar a la oficina de sheriff si no va a seguir en custodia.
Está bien.
Okay. In the meantime, should he not pay that in the next month, his next court date will be March 21st, at which time his lawyer will be present there with him.
Su siguiente día de corte es el 21 de marzo y ahí va a estar su abogado.
¿El 21 de qué?
Okay, I can ask for that.
Okay, I appreciate it.
I'm going to ask for a repetition because I didn't speak in the very well.
Okay.
Porque podría repetirlo, por favor.
¿El 21 de qué?
Disculpe, ¿podría repetir lo que me dijo, por favor? Porque no se le escucha muy bien.
¿El 21 de qué? ¿De qué fecha?
He says that what date?
It will be March 21st of 2023 via Zoom if he does not pay his bond.
Sería el 21 de marzo del 2023. Usted no hace eso.
Está bien.
All right.
That's all right.
All right. Can you please ask him if he doesn't have any other questions, then that's all I have for him.
¿Tiene alguna otra pregunta? Porque si no, ya esto sería todo.
Ahorita puedo pagar la multa ahorita, ¿no?
Sorry, I'm going to have to repeat because the line started so much.
Okay.
Disculpe, ¿podría repetirlo, por favor?
Digo que si ahorita puedo pagar la multa.
He said where he could pay the ticket.
He would pay it to the sheriff's office. They can get his his money from his wallet and he can do it there, or he can have someone bring the money down to him.
Tiene que pagarlo en la oficina del sheriff. Usted puede llevar su billetera y pagar ahí, o alguien puede pagarlo por usted.
Ahorita puedo pagarle de una vez hoy.
So could I pay it right now?
That would be something he has to coordinate with the sheriff's office. I can't take money from him.
Eso es algo que tiene que coordinar con la oficina del sheriff. Yo no puedo tomar plata de usted.
No.
Okay.
All right, sir. Well, if that's all you have, I don't have anything else for you, Mr. Lopez. Good luck to you.
Sí, bueno, eso sería todo, señor López.
All right.
Your Honor, that is.
Hold on one second, Deputy. All right, Madam Interpreter, I believe that's all I have. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much for your service. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye. Deputy, I noticed when I was looking here, I had several waivers already, but I'll send an email shortly for those I don't have so that those can be sent over to me.
Okay, Your Honor, I just was to go ahead and fax those, the ones that we had signed, for those, I'll just go ahead and send them to you.
Okay, great. If you got it noted, great. Cause I was looking, I said, okay, half of them are, look, it looks like I already got about 4 or 5, but yeah, if you got them already, please, yeah, send them over.
Yes, sir, I already jumped on that, got them signed, I'm gonna send them to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Deputy.